On a quiet weekday evening at a local gas station, two white police officers notice a well-dressed black man and decide to stop him out of sheer amusement. Unbeknownst to them, this man is about to become their new chief of police. The following day, a video capturing their actions goes viral, and the entire city watches as Anthony Wallace, the newly appointed chief, promises to bring real change. Anthony Wallace, a tall, broad-shouldered man in his early 40s, steps out of his sleek black sedan. Dressed impeccably in a dark navy suit with a conservative tie, his polished shoes reflect the dimming evening light. His clean-shaven face, weathered by years of dedicated service, exudes an air of calm authority. As he begins pumping gas, his sharp, observant eyes scan his surroundings, not out of fear, but out of habit, honed by years of facing challenges head-on. That day had been particularly intense. Anthony had just left a high-stakes meeting addressing the deeply rooted issues of systemic bias within the department he was about to lead. As the new chief, he was committed to transforming the force, fostering accountability, and instilling respect among his officers. The road ahead would be tough, but he was prepared to lead with a firm yet fair hand. Suddenly, the low rumble of a police cruiser disrupts the stillness of the gas station. Inside the vehicle, officers Greg Turner and Ryan Cole, longtime partners, spot Anthony. They see a tall black man in a suit standing beside a luxury sedan, looking every bit like a successful professional. Greg smirks, nudging Ryan. "Look at this guy," he mutters. "He seems out of place, don't you think? Let's check him out." Ryan, slimmer and with a sharp, calculating look, shrugs. "Why not? It's been a slow day anyway," he replies with a grin. They step out of their cruiser, their body language relaxed, but carrying an air of smug confidence. Greg, a burly man with cropped blonde hair and an arrogant expression, leads the way, while Ryan follows closely behind, his sharp features twisted into a condescending smirk. Unaware of who they are about to confront, they approach Anthony, the man who will soon be their superior. Greg stops in front of Anthony, placing his hands on his belt, his posture emphasizing the weight of his police gear. "What are you doing here?" he asks in a stern, exaggerated tone, treating Anthony like a suspect rather than a fellow professional. Maintaining his composure, Anthony looks at them calmly. "Just getting gas, like everyone else," he replies. His voice is steady, carrying a touch of irony that only the astute would catch, a subtle hint that he's playing along. Greg, however, doesn't pick up on it. Instead, the remark irritates him, and he exchanges a quick, annoyed glance with Ryan. Ryan, backing up his partner, steps closer. "Doesn't it seem odd for someone like you to be here at this hour?" he asks, his voice dripping with suspicion. Anthony raises an eyebrow slightly, offering them a polite smile that barely conceals his growing irritation. "Are you sure you're not wasting your time?" he asks smoothly. "I'm just refueling my car. Nothing more." Already annoyed by Anthony's calm demeanor, Greg steps even closer, now invading his personal space. "Maybe you wouldn't mind a quick pat down," he sneers. "We've had some suspicious types hanging around here lately." Ryan chimes in mockingly. "Don't take it personally. It's just a routine check, you know." Anthony notices a few bystanders starting to take interest. One woman, phone in hand, is already recording. He recognizes the potential for this encounter to go viral and decides to let the officers dig their own grave a little deeper before revealing his identity. He remains still, allowing them to conduct their search without resistance. The search is rough and demeaning, filled with unnecessary shoves and condescending remarks. A middle-aged man among the witnesses shouts, "Hey, what are you doing? This is wrong. Leave him alone." But Greg and Ryan ignore the growing disapproval from the onlookers, too engrossed in their power trip. After finishing their inspection, Greg steps back with a triumphant sneer, looking Anthony up and down one last time. "Looks like you're clean," he smirks. "But next time, be more careful about where you hang out." Still calm, Anthony straightens up, adjusting his tie slightly. He looks at both officers with a slight, almost friendly smile. "Do you know who I am?" he asks quietly. Greg, still oblivious, chuckles. "Just another guy passing through. Who else?" Reaching into his pocket, Anthony pulls out his badge, holding it up deliberately so that both officers see it clearly. "Anthony Wallace, Chief of Police," he says, his words cold and measured. Greg and Ryan's faces drain of color. Their sneers vanish, replaced by shock and fear. They take a step back, eyes wide with disbelief. The crowd, now buzzing with murmurs, watches intently. Someone shouts, "You're going to have to answer for this now." The officers start stammering, their voices shaky. Greg mutters, "We were just doing our job, sir. We didn't know it was you." Ryan, looking desperate, adds, "It was just a routine check, sir. Nothing personal." Anthony raises a hand, signaling them to stop. His gaze is cold, his voice firm. "I suggest you both remain silent. This incident will serve as an excellent example in our training programs on bias. Your actions today are exactly what we will no longer tolerate in this department." The crowd erupts in applause, showing their support for Anthony. Greg and Ryan exchange guilty looks, realizing they haven't just embarrassed themselves, they've jeopardized their careers. The following day, footage of the gas station incident floods social media, racking up millions of views. The video shows two officers harassing a black man, only to be stunned when he reveals his police chief badge. Outrage spreads online, with demands for accountability. Anthony swiftly organizes a press conference at City Hall. Standing before journalists, activists, and city residents, he speaks with a steady, strong voice. "I am deeply disappointed by what happened yesterday. Such behavior is unacceptable and will not be tolerated in our department. We will take strong action against racism and bias, starting immediately." He pauses, scanning the crowd before continuing. "Yesterday, even as chief, I was not immune to bias. This incident highlights the urgent need for change. I promise you this. We will review our practices, retrain our officers, and ensure that incidents like this never happen again." The audience erupts in applause, expressing their support. Journalists scribble notes, recognizing this moment as a key step in police reform. Meanwhile, Greg and Ryan face an internal investigation. They stand before their superiors, who deliver a stern reprimand. Greg, usually so self-assured, now looks defeated, realizing his actions have tarnished his reputation. Ryan, quieter and more reflective, understands the damage he has caused, not just to his career, but to the department's image. Their superiors warn them, discriminatory behavior will no longer be tolerated. Any future misconduct could lead to immediate termination. Greg and Ryan leave the hearing, heads bowed in shame, knowing they've narrowly escaped being fired but must change their ways or risk losing everything. Watching from a distance, Anthony knows this is just the beginning of a long journey toward real change. But as he stands firm, he is confident that he has taken the first crucial step in the right direction.